Good morning, Denver, surrounding Colorado area, and to all our Broncos fans abroad. I'm Devin, and you're watching Breakfast with the Broncos on Buffet Sports.
Uh, yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie beaming. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs ringing. I guess I define winning.
Where do I start? Where do I start? What is this show? Well, I talk too much on our normal podcast, Buffet Sports, about the Broncos. So why not create a show where 15 to 20 minutes a week, I get to kind of ramble and just talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it, at least what I think, and how we're going about it, where we're going. I've been a Broncos fan since Tebow, and plan on continuing to be a Broncos fan. So let's talk about them. So we'll start every show with a segment called Walk Talk, where I'll basically summarize what we're going to talk about on the show. And then when we come back to the desk, we'll go more in depth. So I guess there's no better place to start than with our first iteration of Walk Talk. Let's go.
Whew. This is Walk Talk. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I had to run up a hill. Okay, I've got my bearings now. What is this? What are we doing? Well, this is Walk Talk. And to keep it simple, I'm walking the dog. We're talking about the Broncos. Now, it's an easy way for me to just summarize what we're going through on each week's episode. Fun, different kind of environment. We're moving, getting the creative juices flowing. There's gonna be so many bad takes on this show. But hey, that's part of the sports media, okay? It's just par for the course. Get used to it, deal with it. I'm also gonna say we a lot when I talk about the Broncos, okay? It's just, I'm an invested Broncos fan. I've been a fan for a long time, okay? It's easier. It's one word in the English lexicon. Deal with it. You'll make it, I promise. So what are we talking about today? The NFL draft, of course. It's just under 2 weeks away, and we're on the verge of a new Broncos era. I know we've been saying it for the last 8 years, but I'm serious this time. It feels like there's no better place to start than right now. If you're a new Broncos fan, a returning Broncos fan, or a dedicated one that just needs a little bit of excitement going into the 2025-2024 season, okay? You can't have any more of a fresh start than this. We've got a new ownership group, new coach, new quarterback, and new threads. We're starting fresh. This is a new Broncos team. I know we've been saying it for the last 8 years, but it's for real this time. We've got a competent coach, GM, an owner, team that wants to win. We're built for success over the next couple of years, okay? Be happy that we've got this. Do you remember the Paxton Lynch year? This guy, you saw him in the last clip. This dog, man. Every 2 seconds, stop, sniff, sprint, pull, pick, like that. What are you doing? This is what I'm talking about. I know he's a dog, all right? I know he's a dog, but every leaf? So how are we gonna cover the draft? Well, we're gonna start off with what I don't want the Broncos to do. After that, we'll talk about what I do want them to do, and then finally what I actually think is going to happen. Now, I'm going to hurt some feelings. Well, maybe not hurt feelings, more so broken morale. I'm excited for this era of Broncos football, okay? I know it's cliche, but it's the truth, and you should be too. We're on to something bigger, better, and we're not playing for this year, okay? We're playing for 5, 8, 10 years down the road at this point. Yes, we're in a win now state, but it's going to lead to good things down the road. I know what you're thinking with that statement. Win now. We couldn't even win this year. What do you mean win now? We're not contending for anything, and you're 100% correct. We'd be lucky to win more than 5 games this year. What I mean is Sean Payton is not going to sit on his hands like the Panthers and blubber in mistakes for the next 8 years until we accidentally get a good quarterback like Cam Newton and happen our way into a fantastic record, okay? He is making active moves to get better. We're not going to win anything this year. We might not win anything in the next 2 to 3 years. But at year 5, we're moving. We're going to try and contend. We're going to try and push for the playoffs. That's Sean Payton's plan. So hopefully some winning seasons are on the horizon for the Broncos. The more I talk about this, I think I use the word win now wrong. It's not win now. It's win in 3 years. But we're going to try and be the best version of ourselves every year. Okay, I think that's what I mean by win now. It's not that we're going to win 10, 11, 12 games and be contenders in the playoffs. We're going to try and win as many games as possible. We're not trying to play for the lottery. I think that's the exciting part of this era of Broncos football. We're not, maybe this year we tanked intentionally, but we're not trying to do this every year. Okay, there's the overview. Let's get back to the desk. Let's talk details now. Come on. Come on. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Holding your phone filming while walking / jogging on a trail. Not the move. You really got to watch for trees while you're doing this. You're not really looking at what's in front of you. You're more so looking at yourself. I've almost run into like 6 trees in the 2 minutes I've been filming. Bad choice to wear the sweatshirt out on the walk today. It's hot. It is abnormally warm for Colorado in April. Any better, dude? So like I said during Walk Talk, we're talking about the draft. I just don't feel like there's any better place to start when you're starting to talk in depth about a team. And especially right now, we're starting fresh. Since Peyton Manning, everyone knows, if you're a Broncos fan, it's been tumultuous in the quarterback position, but we're starting fresh. We've got a new ownership group, a new coach, a new quarterback, and new threads, new jerseys. We're starting completely fresh. I don't know how you get fresher than that. So why not start that new era out, like I said, with a quarterback? Maybe. We're going to talk about it. But before that, if you're a returning Broncos fan and you've taken a hiatus after the Peyton Manning years and you're now returning, if you're a longtime Broncos fan and you are just invested in the team as a whole, or you're a new Broncos fan and you're wanting to get deeper into the conversation of what's going on in the Broncos building, this show's for you. The show is for wild Broncos opinions to run. Just run wild. Sorry. Yes, that was a horse joke. Broncos country, let's ride. I can't even do it with a straight face. Oh, it's so good that he's gone. It's so good that he's gone. That leads me into a good segue. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that we've had since Peyton Manning, since 2016. I'm just going to read off the list here. Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, Brandon Allen, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Ripien, Grip It and Rip It Ripien. We even had Philip Lindsay play quarterback for a game. Teddy Bridgewater, Russell Wilson, and now the current starter, the best quarterback in our building as it stands right now, is Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham. He's played 4 games in the NFL. I don't know what to say there. I think if you don't have an adverse reaction like vomiting, nausea, self-combustion, possibly even death, if that's not your reaction to that list, you may need to get checked by your local physician or your psychiatrist because you may not be human. I want to throw up right now, but hope is on the way. Why do I say that though? Because I think the people in the building we have are more competent than ever in comparison to the last, 8+ years. We have a competent group. Sean Payton, George Payton, forgive me if I'm wrong, and it's John. That's bad. I'll probably have to cut that. We've got the Paytons in the building. We've got the Walmart ownership group. That's what I'm going to call them just for ease sake, because that's what they're known for. All right. And
I think we're going to do good things. Sean Payton's got a staff behind him that, although it's the same staff, and I know that's not everyone's favorite thing in the world, get the guys you're familiar with, the guys that are your troops, that know how you run things and know what you want to do, know how you want to run the team, and have similar goals that they want to accomplish. So I'm not all that mad about it. It's to be expected when you get a new coach. But let's talk about the draft. We're talking about the draft. What I don't want the Broncos to do is either trade up or trade down. It's a mistake either way. Trading up, I think I've overvalued some of the quarterbacks in this draft outside of Caleb Williams. And that means I'm a victim to draft rot. I think we all are. And I think the Vikings especially are with JJ McCarthy. And I hope we're not. If we're about to sell our future, I hope it's not for JJ McCarthy. You could convince me it's worth it for Drake May, but I still think you can get a better floor player later in the first round or trading into the second from the third. Now, trading back in the draft, I don't think is a good option either. I think there is a quality starter, a quality weapon that you can get at 12 that's useful for the Broncos. And trading back is kind of just selling on something that could be great. We haven't had a true first round pick in a while, and I don't think Sean Payton's just going to throw that away on getting more draft capital. We've got plenty this year and a decent amount going forward. Now, what I'd like them to do, I have two different scenarios I'll go through here. The first one is pretty straightforward, and a lot of people have mocked it this way. Fucking hell, Devin, shaking the damn desk. I've got two options. Now, what do I want the Broncos to do in the draft? Personally, these are my takes. And because it's the draft, I don't really have numbers or opinions to back it up. This is simply what I'm reading from the smoke screens and what I think is a good path for the Broncos. Am I an NBA coach, executive, or scout? Absolutely not. Do I pretend to be? Absolutely not. This is simply the opinion of a guy who loves the Broncos. Okay. Number one, I want to see them draft Knicks at 12. If you've got a first round grade on him and you think he's a guy that you can go win with in the next 2 to 3 years, which is clearly Sean Payton's agenda, do it. Draft him, go for it, build the team, make him look better than he really is by having a great team around him, because you're not going to have to pay him soon and you're not going to have to pay him really all that much when he does get paid. Will Sean Payton be around for that? We don't know, but he probably doesn't care, unfortunately. The other way we could go in the draft, and I think this is completely reasonable too, ultimately it depends on what we see, who the quarterbacks are in the first round or really in the top 10, but draft an edge piece at 12. Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, Laiatu, whoever we've got the best grade on, whoever's even available. I think they're all pretty interchangeable. Obviously, each have their own special thing they do better than the other person, but I think it's pretty interchangeable there. So take a guy at edge at 12 and either trade into the second round to grab Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr., which we'll talk about in a second, or stay put at the third if you think he'll fall. One of those two guys will fall that far. Now, I just alluded to it, but Michael Penix, when this whole draft process started, that was my guy. I liked the depth of throw he had. He looks like a pro-ready quarterback. I love the arm. It's one of the prettiest deep balls I've seen. I love Michael Penix. I'm also a lefty. I throw with my left hand. I play sports with my left hand. I like seeing lefties, and it's fun seeing Michael Penix just sling the rock. He's Tua, in my eyes, with a better arm. Now, the question is, are we doomed for what Miami is doing right now with a Tua? We see that there's a little bit of, say, the team is kind of unsettled, or at least we read that in the media. That's what I see. Are we bound for that in 5 years if we draft Michael Penix? I don't know, but I don't think so. I think that he's more of an attraction for free agents and just in general than Tua. Whereas Bo Nix is just a grown-up. He's an adult. And what I mean by that is he's played a ton of games in college. He's got a ton under his belt. He's really great for Sean Payton's system. I think it's a match made in heaven. Colin Cowherd is someone who's close to Sean Payton and is definitely in the middle of the NFL conversation daily. He sat down with Bo Nix for 20 to 30 minutes a couple weeks ago and talked shop with him. And after watching that interview, I loved it. He's just, as Colin says, he's a grown up. He's going to be good. He's going to make the right decisions. His floor is good. What his ceiling is, I don't know, but I don't think he's a bust. Worst case scenario, he's a top half of the league quarterback that with the right team around him can get the job done against just about anyone. Now, of course, there is the monster in Kansas City, and the question will be, can he get it done against them? I don't know, but I think if we go the Bo Nix route in the long run, we'll have more money to spread across the team to build a better team than KC can. Now, the third option, and this is just a little bonus one. We don't take a quarterback until the 5th round. We sit put, we take an edge piece at 12, maybe a receiver in the 3rd round, and we wait till maybe the 5th where Spencer Rattler or Joe Milton are available and we grab one of them. In that case, we'd be using Jared Stidham as a stopgap quarterback for the next 2 years. And then from there, Joe Mixon or Spencer Rattler could be fully developed and ready to go. Personally, I really like Joe Milton. All the physical attributes are there. He seems cerebrally there for the most part. I think it's just reining him in accuracy wise. And some people think you can't coach that. I think you can. I think it starts at your base up with the footwork. And I'm sure Sean Payton and that coaching staff can work that into him. Spencer Rattler to me is more of a question mark. I don't love the size of him, but I think he could be great. It wasn't too long ago that we were oohing and awing at what Spencer Rattler was doing. I understand he's had some blunders, but I think he's going to be a steal in the draft. And finally, what I actually think the Broncos are going to do in the draft. All of this move up talk, this we could trade up from Sean Payton is smoke and mirrors. I think that it is a scare tactic to the Vikings of, hey, you better move up and get your guy or we're coming for him. I think it's just to clear the way for someone that maybe they think could fall, a defensive piece or maybe even a receiver that could fall as far as 12 if the right people are scared that we might jump up and grab a quarterback. They'll take their guys and let someone really important fall in the draft. Who that is, I don't know, but I don't think we're actually going to move up. I think Sean Payton, well, both the Paytons for that matter, are smarter than that. In the end, I've got my money literally on Bo Nix to be drafted to the Broncos at some point in the draft. Maybe it's not the 1st round, but I think that's our quarterback next year. In the 1st round, more than anything, I'm thinking it's Laiatu. Don't ask me really why. I just have a feeling, and I think there's going to be a little bit of disappointment from people in the 1st round, but it'll quickly be turned around in day 2 when we grab Bo Nix and we get to see him hold up those new Broncos threads and the new era of Broncos football will start. So here we are at the end, our first episode of Breakfast with the Broncos. Okay. We talked about the draft. We recapped the last 8+ years of the tumultuous time that the Broncos have had in the NFL. Hopefully it's coming to an end soon, but we can only wait and see. So we talked about the draft this week. Next week, I'm going to try and find 10 things to look forward to in the 24-25 season. I think there's more to be excited about than we think there is. And I hope I can bring some positivity going forward for the Broncos. Will it lead to my inevitable downfall and insanity? Probably, but I was already there this year. So let's keep it going. I'm rejuvenated. I'm ready for the year. Again, I'm Devin, and you're watching Breakfast with the Broncos. on Buffet Sports. Leave some comments down below of what you guys want to see. I'd love to turn this show into something more segmented where it's not just me rambling for 15 to 20 minutes, although there will be episodes like that. Trust me, there will be. I really want to make this show into something that Broncos fans enjoy and they look forward to every week, hearing someone voice the opinions of kind of an everyman. Not an NFL exec, not an NFL insider, not even a scout or any sort of NFL affiliation, just someone who loves the Broncos who wants to talk about them. Okay. I'm not a paid sports commenter. The goal is one day, but we'll get there. Point is, leave some comments down below. I'd love to talk about some specific things every week, have segments that you guys enjoy, you guys want to watch. Let's get this train rolling. As always, again, I'm Devin. You're watching Breakfast with the Broncos on Buffet Sports. If you want to see more of me or the show in general, you can catch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at buffet.sports. We post short form every day, sometimes twice a day, and we are almost lining up a long form video every day of the week. So we have content out the wazoo for those of you who just want to sit and consume football stuff. We are called Buffet Sports. So as the draft comes and goes, we're going to be talking about the NBA and other stuff as well, trying to mix in more sports than just football. But football's America's pastime. It's our favorite sport to watch and talk about. So that's what we're going to do. It was kind of fun. Why am I drinking like a 3-year-old? We trade up in the draft. I'm going to lose my mind. Second episode's going to be me just screaming. Gosh, I hope we don't do something stupid in the draft. That would be the real sign that we become a poverty franchise. Please, Lord, don't do that to me.